Right now, Saturn's rings are still raining down onto the planet, and NASA has no way to stop it. Every second, tons of ice are falling from those rings into Saturn's atmosphere, vanishing forever. Scientists at NASA watched it happen. They measured it, and they still can't slow it down. This isn't some far-off ending. It's happening today above one of the most beautiful objects in our solar system, and what the data reveals about how much time is left is the part they're afraid to say out loud. Saturn's rings look eternal. They've been photographed for centuries, painted, printed on posters, burned into our idea of what a planet should look like. Billions of icy particles, some as small as a grain of sand, some as big as a house, spread across a disk wider than the distance from Earth to the Moon. For decades, textbooks called them ancient, almost as old as the solar system itself. 4.5 billion years locked in perfect, silent orbit. That's the story you were taught. That's the story NASA told the public. But in 2017, one dying spacecraft flew through the gap between Saturn and its rings, and it recorded something that broke that story completely. That spacecraft was Cassini. Before it plunged into Saturn on purpose, it measured something falling out of the rings. Charged icy particles, dragged downward by Saturn's magnetic field, raining into the upper atmosphere. Scientists expected a trickle. What they found was a flood. Up to 10,000 kilograms of ring material falling every single second. At that rate, researchers calculated the rings have, at most, a few 100 million years left. Not billions, hundreds of millions, which means the rings you're picturing right now are not ancient. They might have formed after the dinosaurs already went extinct. And nothing Saturn is doing is going to stop the bleeding. Here's where it gets worse. The obvious explanation was simple. Maybe this is just normal wear, a slow fade every planet with rings goes through. But Saturn's magnetic field doesn't behave like a normal drain. It's pulling ring material down in bands, in patterns researchers still can't fully map, sometimes faster in one region than another for reasons no model predicted. Cassini's instruments picked up plasma showers so dense in places that scientists initially assumed their equipment was malfunctioning. It wasn't. The rings are being erased unevenly, unpredictably, and no one at NASA can explain why the process behaves the way it does. And that failure to explain it isn't the strange part. That's still coming. Because here's the detail that quietly changes everything. If the rings are only a few 100 million years old, something had to make them recently. Something violent. Leading theories now suggest a moon, or several moons, got torn apart, shredded by Saturn's gravity, or smashed together in a collision so massive it scattered ice and rock into the orbit we now call the rings. That means what you're looking at right now in every photo of Saturn isn't a leftover from creation. It's wreckage, a crime scene still settling into place, already unraveling before our eyes. The Cassini data suggested the rain rate could vary with the seasons, meaning the true lifespan is even harder to pin down than first announced. It could be shorter. Some models put the ending within our lifetime's reach, cosmically speaking. Others push it out 300 million years. But every model agrees on the direction. The rings are not stable. They are actively, continuously disappearing, and the material never comes back. What Cassini caught in its final months was a planet quietly consuming the very thing that made it famous, and it's still happening every second as you watch this. If the rings are young and dying this fast, it forces a bigger question researchers don't like sitting with. It means the solar system isn't the frozen, finished picture we grew up believing. It means planets can gain and lose their most iconic features on timescales that are almost human. It means every image of Saturn we've ever taken, every postcard, every telescope photo, every mission patch, is a snapshot of something temporary caught mid-collapse. Harvard researchers modeling ring decay now admit that if a probe had arrived a billion years earlier or later, Saturn might look nothing like this at all. Maybe no rings, maybe far more. The version we call iconic might just be a narrow window nobody guaranteed we'd get to see. So the rings are falling right now at 10,000 kilograms a second into a planet 390 million miles away, and no one can tell you exactly when the sky above Saturn goes bare. Some scientists say 100 million years. Others say sooner. Nobody at NASA will commit to a number they're confident in. So here's the question nobody wants to answer directly. If you could send a spacecraft to Saturn 1 million years from now, would the rings even still be there to photograph? What do you think is really tearing them apart?